Good afternoon, everyone. So today we have Nithin, our CEO, and Ankit from Balance. He's a co-founder of Balance, which is an impulsive savings app. They'll be launching soon. So these guys will be having a conversation. You can tune in if you have any questions. Let us know. We have a trading Q&A link that you can ask your questions on, and these guys will answer. So we'll be covering the general trends of the market and more about Zerodha and a lot more, right? So over to you, Nithin and Ankit. Can start.
All right. So I'm Ankit. So I have Nithin here with me, who we're planning to walk him through a few questions, which hopefully he'll give answers to, and we can make an interesting session out of this. So just to start with, Zerodha has obviously seen a fabulous sort of journey and growth curve, and you're here now at this point where, I'm sure there's a lot more that you guys are planning to sort of like look forward to in the future. So could you, we've all heard this very interesting journey that you guys have had till here. What next?
Right. Thanks, Mati. Okay. So, I think we've kind of hit that point where we have realized that India is a very shallow market. The number of people who invest in the markets actively is like extremely tiny. So I think the data on the exchange says that there were 50 lakh unique investors. So not unique, 50 lakh as a total number of people who have invested once a year last year on the exchange. For a population of 120, 130 crores. I mean, that's just a ridiculously low number. If you actually look at a unique number of investors, I think it's probably 25, 30 lakh Indians, who have invested once a year last year, right? So this number is closer to 8, 10% in China. It's closer to 18, 20% in the US, right? So in India, we are at something like 0.05%. So until now, our focus, we continue to focus on offering great trading platforms to people who actively invest in trade, but we are also focusing on saying how do we grow the markets in India, right? Because if we keep building things only for the 25, 30 lakh active investors, I don't think we'll be able to grow as a business. So, yeah, so that's where the whole initiative where we are trying to partner with startups and figure a way to offer great user experiences that can get new people to invest in the markets. And yeah, so like Ankit's from Balance, and Balance should be live soon, so and I think it can kind of bring in a lot of first time investors and savers to the markets.
Thanks, Nithin, for the shout out. Just looking at the current context of what you mentioned, we've been seeing like articles around the concept of the urban poor. How there's a large number of people who are essentially like in a position to make a lot of money, but their first steps towards sort of getting into the investment space and doing things with their money is essentially something that's not really happening. Like, what are your thoughts on sort of like growing the market, considering that this concept of urban poor is actually there? I mean, it's real for a lot of us who sort of identify with it as well. So what do you think about this?
No, I think it's got to do with how we've been brought up. So even today, a lot of my friends who very well educated, and they still kind of invest in gold and fixed deposits, and real estate is something that they understand because their parents probably understood that. So I think there's a serious lack of financial education that's there in India. And all the initiatives that we are trying to run today, including this, is hoping that we are able to kind of spread the knowledge across. So I think the big challenge I think India is seeing today is that I don't think people save enough in the right instruments. So saving into gold is probably the most it's probably not the best way to actually put your hard-earned money into, and hoping to make a return out of it, and also keep it as a stashed away money, because it does a really horrible job in case you want to liquidate it. Gold jewelry is probably the worst asset to be in, if you intend to liquidate it and use it for something else. So I think, yeah, so that I think what's required for India right now is probably like a Uber or a WhatsApp kind of a moment, where some fintech startup goes and builds the user experiences that can initiate people into the whole habit of saving and investing. So I think it's a need of the hour, because people today, I mean, what has happened in India is the spending habits have changed. I mean, people go spend 2, 3, 4, 5,000 rupees on a jeans pant, but then you ask someone to save 500 rupees towards a mutual fund SIP. He asks for the risk of it. So I think that attitude has to change, and I think it'll probably be a startup will come up with a disruptive experience that'll make that happen.
So yeah, I mean, Green Matter is one of the initiatives that has now grown to become very interesting garage of sorts for like exciting ventures like Small Case, and ourselves as well. Like we're trying to build new sort of experiences, and the Kite APIs for startups, that Zerodha has launched are nothing sort of revolutionary. They have really sort of managed to like provide a platform on top of which new players, young players like ourselves can come and build experiences and focus on the product itself. Um, I mean, uh, I mean, how has this journey with setting up Rain Matter, and what's the vision for sort of like growing the Rain Matter sort of experience forward?
Right. See, the thing is, I think financial services businesses, especially around capital markets, is probably the most regulated in the country. So right from becoming, say, a member on a stock exchange to writing all the certification exams to everything else, there is there's a lot of work involved. Like I still remember, I think when we thought of the idea of Zerodha, it was sometime 2009, early 2009. But the day we went live with our first trade, it was August 2010, which is like a good year and a half. And I mean, today, if you if you want startups like of today to come and give a shot at building new age experiences, I mean, I don't think anyone's got 1.5 years to just wait for licenses to come through. So and what we realized was, as Zerodha, we've kind of built a nice execution platform. So we said, why should a startup go out and build again, right? As in, there's a problem that we've probably done a decent job solving, and if we have, then why really worry about, why get other startups to go rebuild the same thing? Why not get the startups to actually sit and focus on building new age user experiences which can essentially get people in? I mean, and also I think what has helped for this idea to kind of grow is is like how, like an Airbnb or a Uber, I mean, without really owning a hotel or a villa or a car, I mean, how they're probably the biggest in their spaces today. So I think the world is going to that point where startups don't really care for who really opens an account, right? They all care who owns the user experience, right? And so as long as a startup knows that you offer a good user experience, they're going to stay with you. If you don't, they're going to go somewhere else. So that's a leverage. I thought we can provide as Zerodha, Rain Matter, and this whole what we are calling as broking as a service. And I think also for a startup, I think today the big problem is not just coming with an idea. It's also about validating the idea very fast, right? I mean, you can't really sit on a bad idea for like year and a half, 2 years, and then say, oh, I should probably pivot to do something else. So I think our clients have been absolutely great. So any new initiative we come out with, we get the right feedback, and so you get to know if this makes sense or not. So we are packaging everything together as broking as service, and we are putting it out there, and we're hoping that some startup, hopefully balanced, tomorrow can come and crack the problem and get the next 10-20 million Indians to come, start participating in the markets. So.
Great. So just shifting gears a bit, you must have recently seen this petition, suggesting to reform the STT, which has been, like one of those interesting sort of topics of debate and discussion. What are your thoughts on the matter regarding the reform on the STT levied on the excise options, and what are some regulatory changes that you would like to see here, and why?
Right. I mean, see, I don't know. I mean, I think security transaction. I mean, see, I think is you need to take it in a pinch of salt, because I have a vested interest in no STT being charged, right? But I think generally, a tax is on something you earn, right? As in, you don't pay tax for transacting, right? So STT is one such task, right? Where traders and investors in India, kind of pay without really actually making any money out of it. So I think, I mean, I hope, one of these days, every budget, everyone in our office here, we kind of sit down and we pray for the SGT to go down or just be removed. So hasn't happened. It's been like I think 13 years since we've been praying. So hopefully one of these days it happens. So about exercise options, it's an anomaly. I mean, I think Economic Times has just covered it today, right? Where if a person who trades options, who buys an option and holds it to expiry, yeah, he ends up paying extreme amounts of you know STT. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how this has gotten missed by the regulators. We're trying a bit to make sure the people hear it out, and hopefully with the media today going and covering it, I mean, I think someone will look at it and have it fixed soon. So
Great. So, what would your suggestion be to people who are just sort of starting out with the investment journey, and bringing first-time investors is essentially a big part of what Zerodha has been able to sort of grow with and nail in as an experience as a product journey as well. So, what are the next steps that you guys are thinking of or planning to to essentially bring more first inventor sort of like investors to the Zerodha platform, and what would your suggestion essentially be to people who are just starting out with this journey?
right. I mean, see, when I say my Zerodha's bread, butter, jam, everything comes from futures and options traders, right? But I definitely there's anyone out there who's a first timer, and I'd say before you trade futures and options, you should give yourself some time, understand the market well before you trade futures and options, because it's a leverage product, and and not everyone understands how to use leverage well. So I'd say direct equity investing is the best way. Now, I've been a full-time trader for over a decade before starting Zerodha, right? As in, and and I think it's probably the most beautiful thing I've done in my life. So because but then again, trading is involves a little bit of skill. So it's not something which is everyone's cup of tea. So you need to enjoy the act of questioning. When you see trends around. So if you see more motorbikes on the street tomorrow, and you should be able to question yourself and figure who's going to benefit out of this, right? And then pick and choose those stocks and trade them. So um, um, so as I said, if you're someone who's kind of born with that instinct to kind of spot trends, now the trends, as I said, could be longer term trends, or I was a scalper, so trends could even be like 10-second, 20-second trends. So but as long as you kind of like looking around and keeping a watch, and for opportunities, I think trading is a great thing to do. So but as I said, I mean, I think one place where a lot of investors go wrong, I mean, I think one of the questions that was asked on the trading Q&A thread was, how do I make money trading? um, I think one place where investors and traders go wrong is they trade with scared money. So what it's actually, there's more like a physiological thing behind this. It's like, if you see people who meet accidents, right? They don't meet accidents because they didn't have time to react. They meet with an accident because they froze, right? The reason they freeze is because when you panic, your heart pumps in a lot more blood to your head, and your head goes numb. That's how people panic. And then what happens is, when you're trading, is the same thing. If you put too much money on the table that you cannot afford to lose, so your heart's going to be pumping more blood. And uh, the more it pumps, the lesser your brain works, and higher the chance of you losing money trading. So my single most, I mean, I've, like, sitting here today, I've seen probably over 2.5 lakh people who trade the markets. I've interacted with a lot of profitable ones. So if I have to differentiate winners from losers, I'd say winners are those who trade as small as possible. So when they trade as small as possible, they stay sane, and and they do the right things. So mm.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a very interesting bunch of insights on how you've gone about sort of assessing this. So just to sort of build on this, this conversation of ours around new players in the market who are trying to build sort of like newer products. What do you think about technology and design as tools of impact on being able to create such new products? And what would your suggestion be to folks who are trying to come up with newer ideas and building, such young companies to sort of, start out with offering newer solutions. So, what would your advice be to these, like to new founders who are trying to work on ideas? And what do you think about technology and design essentially helping these startups build great experiences?
Right. No, I think, see, so when we started working on Kite, our web-based app, me and Kay, we debated quite a bit, right? As in, Kay wanted to go absolutely minimalistic, and I was like, we should have a bunch of options, So, I mean, we went with what he thought, and we did the right thing by doing that, and it's worked out really well for us, which is essentially to offer a clutter-free experience, which is to see, the thing is, we're already, I think, there's so much clutter in our lives, and you don't want to come out and land in another place where there's clutter, and I think what a startup should do is figure that one important problem they're trying to solve and stick to solving it, because I think what has happened today is, a lot of fintech startups, especially what I've seen, is they end up building so many things to please so many different type of customers, so I mean, it's technically not possible, I mean, like I think every day we get at least like 5 different new indicator requests on Kite, so I mean, it's not really, I mean there are zillions of indicators, right? So it's not really possible, so we have to pick and choose what we think is required and do a great job, on making that happen, so. And I think, like, especially for someone who's trying to do anything in the fintech, when I say fintech, say more investment tech, around investing and saving, um, I think it's actually a design problem to solve today. I don't think there's any more technological problem, there's nothing fancy that needs to be done technologically, and especially, if someone's using our whole broking as a service kind of a model, where we anyways manage the entire execution layer, so I think it's a design, problem to solve. And to be very honest, I mean, I don't really know what will get the next 10, 20 million Indians to the markets, so hopefully, one of you guys are going to crack it soon, so.
Superb. So, in recent light of events, the government is obviously pushing very hard to make India into, more and more of a cashless economy with initiatives such as UPI, Aadhaar, etc. How do you see this shift happening, and how is Zerodha adapting to this changing payments environment?
Right. I mean, so let me tell you a story actually. So like, the reason I'm telling you this is because, we've been getting a lot of complaints around this. So when we started the business, I mean, I was just debating about this with one more startup guy a few days back. So when we started the business, after giving the exchange deposit, I think there was just 10 lakh rupees left on the table for us. So for us to actually run the business, so, and that was not enough money to do a lot of things, so you had an office, you had 5-6 people working, computers, and a lot of overheads, right? So at that time, we actually needed a back office vendor, right? A vendor essentially is a back office vendor is essentially one who will process a trade process every day. I mean, all the trades that are done at Zerodha, we take it in, we process it out, and send out contract notes, make ledgers, make P&L statements out of it. So we chose a vendor because he actually came at zero cost, right? We were his first clients, um, and I mean, we didn't really have too much money on this guy, right? So, and the whole plan then was, in 6 months we'll move out. It's been 6 years, and we're finally moving out on March 31st. The reason I'm saying is because the leverage that Aadhaar and the entire, entire India stack is giving to a startup right now is extremely immense. We've not been able to make good use of it because, unfortunately, like it's been a technical debt for us. This whole entire back office platform, which was vendor driven, and it, so many times, on Zconnect, etc. I keep telling that we're working on changing it. I don't really understand. I don't really know if our clients appreciate the size of our back office platform, and how actually difficult it is to move this from a vendor to our in-house. I mean, we've been trying to do this for 1 year, but for sure, March 31st will be the last day in our old back office platform because the vendor has stopped supporting it now. So So yeah, but once that happens, so some of those things that we are very excited to do, especially with say something like UPI, etc., is see today, if you compare Zerodha to a bank who's a broker, we kind of lack the leverage that the bank has in terms of the fungibility of funds, right? As in, you can withdraw money anytime you want. The first problem we could essentially solve using UPI plus IMPS, etc., is to be able to suddenly say, okay, if there's no money in your if you want to withdraw your money from your trading account, go to an ATM and just withdraw. So I can uh, I mean, it wouldn't have been possible a year and a half back. Today it's possible, right? I think we're going live with our Aadhaar e-sign today, right? Which is a client who's KYC compliant can essentially onboard instant, so which wouldn't have happened, year and a half back. So I think, as I said, one of those, if there's anyone out there who's got a startup idea around markets, I think my experience in the last 5-6 years has been running Zerodha, and before that as a sub broker, is this whole onboarding process is so complex, which kind of keeps away a lot of first time investor. Now that process seems to have kind of become extremely simple, or it's getting there, where the new CKYC initiative from the government, so it looks like if a person is already having a bank account, very soon he will not need to do a KYC again with anyone, right? So once all of that is in place, I think onboarding problem gets solved. A guy can essentially instantly press a button and open an account. And hear this, as in there are just 0.05% of India who's investing in the markets. So if there is there's an idea around offering some disruptive user experience, I think there's a time to go out and start working on it. Because I don't know. I mean, I think 5 years from now will be too little late. So.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, when we look at how Zerodha has progressed over the years, and the massively interesting journey that you guys have had, there's this. I mean, there's a few points that sort of resonate. The people behind the team, and how there is. I mean, so. Balance happens to be one of the startups who are like trying to leverage the Rain Matter space that that Zerodha provides, and we also witness this high level of sort of integrity and passion towards building something awesome, which seems to be shared uniquely across the entire Zerodha team.
Right.
How does this culture sort of evolve, and like what are your thoughts on how this has gotten set up the way it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think yesterday itself, so I was at a college where someone was asking me this question, so who said, should we raise money? So there's a startup, who wanted to raise some money. It's like, because you guys have done this bootstrapped, what would you advise like a first timer? Should he go out and raise money to do a startup? I mean, so my answer, which is kind of related to what you're asking here, has been that see, when you run a business, right, it's like being in a competition, right? As in, it's a fight. I mean, it's like a sport. If I am 6'5", I'm 250 pounds, I can't be doing gymnastics, right? I mean, I can't be doing gymnastics where a Chinese who's 5'5", 100 pounds can do somersaults, right? As in, so you need to have that edge on the table, right? When you're doing a business, Now, when we started Zerodha, I think the team, me, Nikhil, and a bunch of others, so I think this was the only thing we had done in our lives. I mean, I've slept, dreamt, I breathed stock markets from the time I've been 16, 17. So I think that edge that you brought on the table, was the reason that we said this is the edge we have. So so maybe we can get away without raising capital, because. But if there's no edge, for example, if someone's doing an e-commerce startup, I mean, he has to go raise money as soon as possible and acquire the clients. I mean, because so what happens is, the question now is was that how do you then get a good team, right? As in, who kind of believe in your idea? And I think it has to come from the top, right? So I mean. Like even today, right, on Z Connect, I think I'm answering queries at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. So I spend 2 hours at least reaching out and figuring out what are the problems out there. And then and the good news is, I think an entire see, our top 100 people, in the sense, the first 100 people who have joined us haven't really quit us, in the sense. And I think that culture has kind of passed on to them. And today we're a 600 member team, I mean, so it's a lot more tougher to do this today, as in to make sure that everyone on the 600 member team feels the same way for the business. But at least a bunch of us feel, so, and I think that's helping us grow as a business. I keep telling the guys, right, as in, I don't think we have done anything business with any expectation of an outcome, right? So be it Kite, be it Z Connect, being answering on trading Q&A, we never ask if he's our client, if he's what. I think whatever we do it with zero expectations in return, and so whatever comes back is a bonus for you. So I think when you do those things, I think generally, the positiveness kind of spreads to the team. So
Interesting, very interesting. So with Zerodha and a bunch of interesting projects running at Train Matter, do you think this could be one of the first India fintech stories to go global? And do you have any plans of operations like outside of India in the future?
I mean, the thing is, there are two things, right? As in, personally, I believe India is the opportunity, right? As in, I mean, if 0.05% of India invests actively in the market, I mean, this is where we have to be, and this is where we have to kind of go and uh, push the metal on the pedal. So, but we are also, as in, some of the tech pieces that we have built, today is very easily, can easily be leveraged in different markets, and we are scouting out for those opportunities as well. I mean, one of those questions that were asked to me on trading Q&A, I think, was what's happening new in terms of trading platform, etc. So I think last year we had two disaster days. One was a Brexit day, and one was I think the surgical strikes day. Where platforms went down for a bit, and I mean, I don't think I slept for like for a couple of weeks after those. So the thing what K and team have been doing for the last 6-7 months is, I mean, we haven't really doled out new features on our front end, but what I think our clients would love to would be happy to know is that we have actually replaced the Kite backend completely, almost. So essentially, we are ready right now to handle scales which are much bigger, right, than what we could before. And the front end bits, I mean, all those bells and whistles, I mean, those are not really the big challenges to build, right? So yeah, so now that we know that the backend is there, which can handle like 10 times a Brexit kind of a scale, so I think this year our clients, I think, will be very happily positively surprised on all the new things that we have lined up to kind of as in terms of our platform features. So yeah, so sorry, I missed the question though.
So yeah, I mean, I think you've answered it. And regarding new things, what would you sort of like to tell the Kite audience about in terms of the next bunch of new things which are being rolled out? Do you have any thoughts to leave them with?
Right. I mean, like, first thing, as I said, so the first big thing, I mean, actually, there are a couple of big things on the table. Kite backend replacement is almost done, right? That means the entire piece that drives Kite is replaced to a new architecture which can handle massive scale. The second big piece, I mean, I think a lot of people have complained on that thread as well on trading Q&A, which is our reporting tool Q, which seems to be not opening up a lot of times during the day, and that's happening because of this technical debt which I said earlier, right? This is because of that our old back office platform is still kind of drives the queue. The interface is actually built by us, the front end, but the underlying trade process, the engine, etc., is still that vendor driven product. Once we have replaced that on 31st of March, I think these issues should go away. And so if I were to say in terms of priority, replacing Kite backend, getting the new queue up, we are codenamed this as Crux, so getting the new Crux up. We are facing big challenges onboarding clients instantly, so because we are opening a lot of accounts, but so there's a drop off experience in terms of onboarding. So we're hopefully we'll have the whole Aadhaar layer in the next 2 weeks. So where clients can open instant accounts. I mean, through e-signature today, I think by tomorrow we should be live, but through the biometric piece, where a person is not already KYC compliant can, instantly open an account too, should happen in the next 2 weeks. And then a bunch of really cool things, which I'd like to keep it as a secret for now, because I mean, I would not want our competitors to know what we're building, but I'd say, some, I've been a trader throughout my life, and as traders, it's like, uh, like how we all like cars, like a trader, I know that I want my platform to have as many cool features as possible, because I believe that it can add to my edge of somehow being able to be profitable at the end of it. So we're doing a bunch of really, really cool things for the trading community as well. And yeah, so I think the next financial year is probably going to be quite exciting for us. So
Yeah, this constant drive to continue to keep making Zerodha and everything around it, sort of competitively, sort of constantly moving forward is one of the, like very inspirational things which, which I've, sort of seen and heard right now. I mean, it's been great to sort of hear about the cumulative sort of like story around Zerodha and the plans going forward. Like regarding Rain Matter, like would you have any like messages for the audience which is tuned in right now?
I mean, if because there's so much interest in starting up, I think from the time we started Rain Matter, I think it's been very tough to come across quality good people like you, Ankit. So I think if no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't think people are looking at fintech, investment tech as something that can be disrupted, right? I mean, fintech today, is more wallets and more payment gateways and etc., right? But then a very big part of fintech is also saving and investing, right? So which is actually what is originally fintech. I mean, everything else is actually subsets of this, right? So I think uh, if there is a startup out there who thinks they have an idea that can somehow get the next 2, 3, 4, 5 million Indians to come invest in the markets or save in the markets, I think it's about time they started working on it, because with the India stack coming through, I think it's going to be exciting times ahead. So
Yeah, thanks for the kind words, Nithin. Yeah, I mean, this has been a very interesting and insightful discussion. And regarding, the entire sort of like piece of learning around this, it's been a very inspirational sort of an experience to hear about, where Zerodha started and where, you guys are poised at this point. And it's also extremely sort of inspirational to know that, there's this constant hunger and drive to continue building this. Thanks a lot for, for this session and your time.
okay, cheers. Thanks everyone who's listening to this. And there's just a part, as I said, there's just our first webinar. I think, yeah, the second one, where as part of the Educate series, and we're gonna hopefully do a couple of them every week from now. So we'll get different people come talk about different things, and hopefully help you become a better investor, trader, and generally more knowledgeable about capital markets. So
Yeah, thank you, Nitin, for your insights. And Ankit, I myself am very eager for Balance to launch. So hopefully that will be soon. Yeah, as Nitin said, we'll be doing a lot of these webinars from now on as our Educate initiative. So you can check out the schedule on zerodha.com/educate. We put up a calendar there, add them to your calendars, and see you next time.